Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our summer learning series, the place where we unpack what's really working in the speaking industry right now. I am Lauren Pibworth, founder of PibworthPS, where we help speakers turn scattered marketing systems into things that get them booked and paid. And today, I am beyond excited to be joined by the legendary, how's that? That's a good adjective, legendary Jane Atkinson, coach, author, and creator of the Wealthy Speaker School. And if you've ever read The Wealthy Speaker 3.0 or listened to her podcast, you already know that Jane has helped thousands of speakers launch and scale successful businesses from the ground up. Now, when I first started supporting speakers about 18 years ago, Jane was the voice that I followed. Her books, her frameworks, her unapologetic clarity about what it takes to build a real speaking business that became a part of the foundation I still use today to help speakers increase their impact and income. Jane didn't just inspire me, her wisdom helped shape the entire direction of my agency. And today I get the privilege of teaching website and lead generation modules inside her Wealthy Speaker School, which just makes this full circle moment even sweeter. So today, Jane is joining us and she's kind of pulling back the curtain on how to position yourself with a promise that gets you picked, how to use the Wealthy Speaker system to scale without chaos. And yes, we're going to even dive into some fun AI tools that we were talking about that can help you boost your visibility and bookings. So let's get into it. This is a conversation that every speaker needs to hear. Um, Jane, you've always said that the right positioning is what gets speakers picked. What does a strong, irresistible speaker promise actually sound like?
Well, as you know, because people come to you for websites, there's a lot of marketing terminology that's kind of flung around out there. And I just want to say there's no kind of one official way to do it. What we work on is the bottom line being what we would call a promise statement. Some people might call that a unique selling proposition, others might call it a brand promise. But the important part about the promise is that it speaks to the outcome of the work, the problem that you're helping to solve. So there's the promise statement, and then there's maybe a brand or a brand statement, and then there could be headlines that really kind of
Mhm.
capture people and draw them in. And you can use any of the above, but I would say don't miss the promise statement. What is it? It's not a long, mission statement. It's not a paragraph long typically. Um, it's a kind of a tight sentence that's going to allow your visitor to your website, let's use it in that instance, the visitor to your website know within 5 seconds how you are going to help them solve their problem. And that's the most important piece. How long, Lauren, what do you think that today's attention span is when they arrive at a website? Like it
We are
used,
getting we are getting close to goldfish every day.
yeah, like
Um,
3 seconds, 5 seconds.
yeah,
Yeah,
if that,
yeah.
if
It's
that.
very, very short. So, yeah, it's a really kind of tight idea that allows people to understand very quickly how you're going to help them.
Yeah. One of the things I always emphasize when I'm teaching website or lead gen or any of my marketing stuff is that clarity isn't optional.
Mm.
If your message isn't landing on your homepage, then everything else falls apart. Um, and I know that's a big piece of your promise statement, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're selling, why people are buying it, and who's going to pay you to do it, just stop marketing.
Yeah.
Get clear first because you're just wasting your money unless you're going to land in that promise statement piece.
Yeah, we
So,
really like the term clarity equals confidence
yes.
because then when you're talking to your prospective buyers, you have it in your mind very, very crystal clear. Lauren, would you like me to
That,
share?
yeah, I was going to say, show me some examples.
Okay, let me share with you. Most of these are clients, and I'll tell you if there's anybody who is not. This is Kindra Hall, who is a past client, and you may have heard of her. She is probably somewhere between 30 and 40,000 US in her speaking fees. And as long as I have known her, and we probably worked together, oh gosh, 7 years ago, I'm going to say at least now. And it's always been, though, about storytelling. So the irresistible power of storytelling is kind of her broad statement, headline, maybe brand. And then her promise goes a little bit more finite to create change, expand influence, and inspire growth in business and life. And so the part that's important is what is this going to give us? And so she's kind of saying what it is, storytelling, and also the how. Now, sometimes you don't have to say like your methodology to getting there. That's not
Mhm.
always essential for this to work. And so just know that. It makes perfect sense for her to be all about storytelling. But there are times, like for instance, I'll give you an example of a woman who was a sleep expert. And what she wasn't selling was sleep, better sleep. She was actually selling productivity. And so sleep was kind of a part of it, but it wasn't all of it. And so we just had to shift her marketing just a little bit to encompass that. Now, let me show you somebody who is not a client of mine, but I always love using her as an example. This is Cassandra
Yeah.
Worthy. She's amazing,
Cassandra's awesome.
isn't she?
Yeah.
And so Change Enthusiasm is her brand, and her promise is, and so she's telling us the how as well, which I kind of dig. Keynotes, consulting, and virtual solutions to ensure your organization has the mindset, behavior, and tools to grow through change. So her clients are people who are going through really, really drastic change. And I think that it's a terrific example. Now, I also love to show this slide because Cassandra's brand is change enthusiasm, and the photography cannot go unnoticed. Like it just super matches up. And
Yeah.
so I just think that that's something for people to think like, is my photography matching up with what I'm telling people? And so in her case, it really does. Now, let me just give you one more. This is our very own Elaine Froese, great Canadian speaker from the prairies. And her, I'm going to give you a before and after on her, Lauren, because she kind of evolved over time. We worked together years ago, and her promise then was empower family, increase profit, secure legacy. She's all about, and you can tell from her
Yeah.
photography, she's all about helping farm families have those really difficult conversations about how the farm is going to transition, amongst the family. Is it going to be passed down and what's going to happen? And securing the legacy is really, really important. But let me show you Elaine's new kind of I guess it would be more of a headline. It's Welcome, I'm Elaine, Canada's Farm Whisperer. So she's kind of like branded herself. The
Hmm.
message, though, underneath that is still very, very much the same, same focus. I'm your go-to expert for farm families who want to who want better communication, conflict resolution, and to secure a successful farm transition. So tweaked in a very minor way, but the same idea. And I just really like when somebody says, well, I'm just going to do it a little bit differently. And so you can brand yourself. But one of the things I would caution people on doing that is that we want to be careful and not to make it all about us. And
Hmm.
I don't think Elaine is doing that at all. And she's definitely doesn't come from that, that there's not a lot of ego when it comes to Elaine. She's just a beautiful, lovely person. So,
Well, the Hi, I'm Elaine is an approachable,
yeah,
friendly,
hey,
farm appropriate
yes,
introduction. And I really liked the change from legacy to transition because
yeah,
legacy is a is an airy fairy. I want to build a legacy. Well, how do I
yeah.
do that?
Yeah,
Whereas
and what does that even
transition,
mean? What does that even mean? Maybe people
exactly,
really like they're not.
everybody has a different definition,
Yeah.
but transition is even more zeroed in on that.
Yes.
She is like, okay. And she knows, she's done the research to know that her audience, that is a major pain point. Whereas legacy,
Yeah.
it's hard to land on. So
Yeah. It
there's
really.
in that promise statement, it's again, it's what specific thing am I going to help you with that I know you need more than anything else?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the promise statements.
And she can. Here's the danger for speakers. She could speak to all things farming. She and her husband run a huge, massive operation. She
Yeah.
knows all the things about farming. But when she got really narrow to talk about transitions and conflict resolution,
Hmm.
created by transition, that's when it got more lucrative. And she's really got a very, very successful business going. And I just love that, like kind of just small little tweaks to get better and better. And of
Yep.
course, Lauren, when you do a website or when you do a promise statement, it's usually not done. It's
It's
not like
never done.
you set it and forget it. It's usually okay, every 12 months. What do we need to do with this to make it more focused, stronger? And so there's a lot of people in my world who have gone from wide in terms of what they're offering. They can do a lot of things to very narrow and focused. And I think the more you can really serve one problem and one audience, I think you will find, even though it doesn't really make kind of like logical sense, intuitive sense, but it actually does pay off for people. I've seen it over and over and over again.
Absolutely. So we know what's paid off. What do you think are the most common mistakes speakers are making when they're trying to carve out that lane? I think you've already touched on one of them, which is a really big, broad
Trying to be
thing,
all
but
things to all people, yes. Trying to be all things to all people, not getting it clear in their own mind before they begin. So we have a
mhm,
process. We're going to talk about systems here, but I'll lay out our process. It's called ready, aim, launch. In the
yep,
ready stage, we get crystal clear on what we're selling. Ready is kind of all about clarity. Who's
mhm,
your audience? What's your fee? What's your promise? What's your lane? All of that comes in the ready stage. Then we move into aim. That's where you get involved. That's where we do all of our marketing. And we actually talk speeches and presentation skills there because there is no better form of marketing than a great speech. Plus all the marketing ancillaries, a website, demo video, etc. And then and only then, once those are finished, you move into launch. And so you see where the clarity was at the very beginning of the process. And if you're talking to clients and you're kind of fumbling around, it's because you haven't completed ready and you're in launch a little prematurely. And you know what? We've all done it. we've all been there. We've all launched things without really getting as clear as we needed to be.
So I know we talked about examples of promise statements earlier, but do you have a favorite success story? Someone who really embraced your wealthy speaker system and saw like huge results from it? Do you have a
Well, I would say Ryan Estes has kind of always been my poster child.
mm-hmm.
Um, but funny enough, so Ryan was always the person I was talking about, went from 0 to 1 million in revenue, and he's just killing it now at multi-millions per year. And Kendra, though, came up to me. I spoke at a speakers chapter in Arizona, and she said, I'm going to be your next Ryan Estes. And I'm like, okay, cool, bring it on. And we worked together. And honestly, she did it, and she probably even did it faster. And she had books and everything out far before. Ryan only just got his first book out last year, and that was after 10 years of business. So everybody has kind of their own paths. Those are two of my most successful, and they have never kind of wavered from what they were talking about. It's
Yeah.
always kind of been, for him, it's like business, performance, and her has always been story. And I think that that is just something that really, really helps
Yeah.
people. The focus really helps people.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about systems from lead gen to back end tech. And I found that speakers really hit a wall when they don't have that infrastructure to support the growth. So that fire piece, that getting all your ducks in line,
Mhm.
really makes a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, I
Um,
just interviewed David Averin for the podcast.
mm,
He had another new book out, and so we bring him back. And he's also got a lesson inside the school, same as yours. And his is quite popular, maybe our most downloaded. And because he lays out all of the things that he and his team do. And he stresses that he's not automated in their outbound approach. So they don't send 100, 200, 1,000 emails at a time. He's not automated. But let me tell you, he and his team are systemized. And what we talked about, this most recent one was international, get booking international gigs. And so what he would do is he would book one. So he booked Singapore, for instance, and then he went all around Singapore and got a whole trip going and booked like five more things. So he was gone for 2 weeks, but he's doing five engagements. And this is the total revenue of that road trip. And I thought that that was a very interesting way to look at it. The first one he didn't in this case, but he might have even negotiated the fee to get the trip started. And then let's build on that. So their system is no matter where the gig is booked, let's get our leveraging systems in place. And he gave me a couple of websites that he uses to find engagements that are local. One is called 10times.com, 10 number 10 times.com, and the other one was called eventsinamerica.com. So obviously that's good for south of the border,
yeah.
but if as a Canadian you get a booking in Boston, you go to clientsinamerica.com and see who else is in Boston during that time and say, hey, I'm going to be there anyway. They're
Exactly.
flying me in, so the big portion of the travel is already covered. Let's piggyback. And I just think this is absolutely a genius way to go. It's like location leveraging, really making sure. So when it comes to systems, anything you do more than once should have a system to it. Okay. Um, all outreach systems for him, First, there's email number one, then there's email number two and three. And he says often two and three are the ones that get noticed. They do most of their business via email. That's how they, and there are times when it's like, oh, this is the fourth year we've emailed that same conference, and now it's right. Now it's a good fit. So all of the outreach systems have all of the outreach processes have like a system involved. For some of our clients, they'll reach out on the phone first.
Mm,
Then they'll follow up with an email and then they'll connect on LinkedIn. Some people will throw a video into the mix, a personalized video that says, hey, I just sent you an email and, you know, let me hone in a
yep.
little bit further. Hope to talk to you soon. And now they can see you, which is really, I think, advantageous. So, systems for outreach, systems for everything gig related. There should be checklists for everything you do before, during, and after a speaking engagement, all the way through till, the final check has been received, the travel has been billed, and we've had our follow-up call. All that is systems. Systems for your social media. How do you do it? We have always done systems for our marketing in that every second Tuesday we send out a blog post, or in the summertime we do summer shorts, which are just little videos. And then every second Thursday we send out our newest podcast. And so that has been a system for
Yep.
a decade or more. And so people come to expect it. Everything
One of
is
my, sorry, go ahead.
everything is a system. That's it.
Yeah. One of my favorite systems is actually the follow-up because you've got your gig, but to put a system in place to actually turn that gig into repeat revenue, into repeat referrals,
Yes.
right? That's a huge money-making system that I feel too many speakers just, they're so happy they got this thing, but they
Yeah.
don't realize how much more they could help, how much more impact
Yeah.
that message could have if you only did.
Yeah. Think about this. Think about the keynote as the beginning of maybe a year-long relationship with a client, and the keynote is just what we're doing to kick it
Yeah,
off. Really be
exactly. It's
thinking
not the
about the
end
long.
game.
And I also think that because people get so excited that they get a gig, they also don't do that whole geographic leveraging and think about, okay, how can I find more engagements? How can I do press when I'm there? You know who's really amazing at this? Sam Dema.
Yes.
He is so good at leveraging his time in any one city. And a lot of people who come up and out of the student or youth market are really good at that because they learn how to really work a city or an
Yeah.
area, geographic area.
So we said we talk about AI in our when I did our marketing. So let's talk AI for a minute.
All right.
What are your favorite tools right now that speakers can use to grow their visibility or streamline their business?
So Mark Hain, who runs our school,
Hmm.
he's our lead coach, he loves perplexity. And he searches out speaking engagements on perplexity. And I think he does a lot of his industry knowledge when he's hopping on to a client call. And I think it doesn't matter what tool you use. I think it's just important that if you're not off the mark in using them, you start playing around. And that's
Yeah.
kind of where I am. I'm kind of just in the early stages. So I'm really good friends with Steve Shapiro. He's a past client as well. And Steve is maybe like a 20-year veteran in the speaking industry, probably earning 30K and above. And we've been chatting back and forth about using AI tools for so I've wanted to record the Wealthy Speaker 3.0 on audio for some time. but I don't think I'm going to be able to. I don't want to go in the studio because I've done that before for 2 books, and it's just really time consuming. It's really expensive. So I'm trying to think about how I can
Mhm.
get AI to do it. And so there's a tool called 11 Labs that will allow me to go in, give them, I think, 15 to 30 minutes of my voice,
Mm.
and then I give them the manuscript, and then they're gonna make me say my book. Now, I just did this using ChatGPT on, no, using Amazon's. So inside Amazon, if you've got books on Amazon, go into your KDP account and just see whether or not you have any books that are, I forget what the languages that they use, but basically you are qualified for an AI version of the voice on this book. And so I just went through it with one book, and it was a lot of work. I mean, I had to listen to the whole thing, I had to correct grammar,
Yeah.
make sure everything was said appropriately. So that's the time, is just going back and listening. So, Amazon's got its own tool. Uh, Google Gmail has its own tool, Gemini. And if you go into Gemini and just play around as a starting place, it's like, okay, I want to write a sales letter and I want to say this, 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 and this. Well, boom, boom. And it's there and it's so beautiful. So I don't know if I finished this thought because I get really excited when I talk about AI. I started to, what was my project? First, I was going to turn an old book into a new book. And I said, can you take the copy of this book and make it more fun and more spicy?
Mm. Mhm.
My God, this was just ChatGPT, people. I
Yeah.
mean, the most basic tool. I mean, it's the one that everybody knows the most. Anyway, they did such a great job on making the book fun and spicy. Then I said, can you do an infographic for it? They did this amazing infographic. Then I said, can you do a cover? The cover blew my mind. You know, we
Mhm.
had to go back and forth. The system is not perfect. You have to be really clear on your directions, and sometimes it just doesn't get it, right? But I was so excited when I just kind of saw the capability. So let me just say, anybody who needs help creating content and putting out content. So I could do the same thing going back to ChatGPT and say, could you give me 6 social media posts to promote what we just did, the book?
Mhm.
Boom, 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 boom. And they're all just as spicy and flavored in the same way. And I mean, okay, so let's talk about integrity for a second, okay? At the beginning of, if I do an AI version of the Wealthy Speaker 3.0, I'm going to do a recorded thing that says, I'm here telling you that I'm doing this, but I'm using AI. So just a heads up, I'm using AI. It's not me saying this, because you can tell. You can always tell when something is done by AI, right? Especially voice. Um, if I was going to put out a book and use AI to do, I would say this
Mhm.
book was written by me, because all of the original ideas are mine. And I would say that all of the original ideas are mine, but I did spruce it up with the use of AI. So personally, I would use it with discretion and in a discerning way. Would I ever write a speech and then go deliver a speech that AI created for me? No, that does not feel. But would I take a story that I was struggling with and say, I'm trying to figure out how to say this story? Yes, I would potentially look for some different language that I could then incorporate. The other thing I learned from Chris West, who does amazing speaker videos, um, and anybody who needs to know about his filming days, reach out to me, Jane at speakerlauncher.com, and I'll tell you about them, because he's got about every 6 weeks he does filming days. The biggest problem my clients have is that they don't have great footage of themselves.
Mm.
and he has this beautiful big stage, and it's amazing what they do. He talks about how you can take an old video of yourself and change the words to be
Mm.
more updated. So it's still you, still you.
Yeah.
The video is you, the words are you, and AI is putting them together for you. So, amazing. I mean, what are you using it for?
Well, it's funny. I don't know whether you noticed the graphics for this whole series, the Summer
I
Learning
loved your
series.
graphics. I knew you had done them on AI, and I loved it.
I just, I'm like, I want to be
Mhm.
Sandy from Greece, but I want it to be the spicy Sandy.
Yes.
And I uploaded a bunch of pictures of myself
Mhm.
and back and forth, make her a little whiter, uh, because I am me. But all of that, and that was so much fun. And
Start there.
I love putting in posts, especially blog posts that I've written with
Uh-huh.
all my content, and just like make this feel a little bit more compelling,
Yeah.
right? Put a little,
Zhuzh it up.
yeah, yeah, just which is funny because as a former copywriter,
Mhm.
it feels really weird to do that.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm getting good quality,
Yeah.
does it really matter? Does it
Mm.
really matter? I mean, I still believe there is still a place
Yeah.
for strategy and copywriting and everything else, but little tweaks, I'm comfortable using AI for.
Okay, so I might be doing myself out of a job by sharing this with you, but when I go into, I'm just trying to think of where I wrote this down. Okay, so I said I want to get my book done on audio. M- Give me a plan.
Mm,
Well, here's your checklist for creating your AI voice audio in course. I think it's going to be a course. Prepare a cleaned up manuscript, remove visual references, break into short sections, record 10 to 15-minute voice sample, quiet room, good mic. Use 11 Labs to generate your AI voice and convert text to audio. Review and edit. Like there's checklists. I don't see how we as a world can ever be confused about anything again because here all you need to do is just put in all the information.
yeah,
I mean, it gave me email teasers, it gave me landing page copy, it gave me everything. So honestly, here's why you're going to still need a coach at your side because there's going to be a point where I say, well, I
yeah,
don't know if that's in line with the strategy that we decided over here because I know about that and AI does not. But I just have to say, like, geez, this is so good.
it is. So I've got a bunch more questions, but we're running out of time. So I'm going to kind of do a quick lightning round, 30
Right?
second answers.
Right?
Um, what is one daily habit that keeps you on track?
Planning uh, the night before for the next day. So I've done it for years and years and years. Here are my goals. Also recognizing my wins and having gratitude.
Awesome. A favorite investment you've made in your business? Where,
Mm.
where are you happy that you've spent money?
Mm. Uh, wow, you should have gave me this one ahead of time so I could think about it. Uh, on a solid CRM, like I use Active Campaign and I use Thinkific.
Hmm.
I will say I've asked AI to give me some lesser cost outcomes, less
Yeah,
cost
less
alternatives.
costly. Yeah,
And they gave me some. And so that may be something that I'm changing. But I have to say, having the CRM and the depth that's in it
yeah.
is unbelievable.
Is there a specific speaker trend you're watching closely?
I think I like to always watch and see how long speeches are. Uh,
Mm,
TED Talks have not gone away.
yep.
They're hotter than ever. I have like a half a dozen of my clients and friends who are just showing on Facebook or whatever that they're just booked into a TED Talk. And so I feel like we're going to see corporate going a lot, continue. They've already
Hmm.
done it, but they're going to continue to follow the idea that people do not have the attention span for a 1 hour speech or
Yeah.
a 90-minute speech.
So, what's one mistake that you made early on that others can learn from?
Oh gosh, I made a bazillion of them. Writing a book outside my lane.
Me too.
I wrote a book called The Frog Whisperer right after I got married because all the frogs I had kissed, I thought, there's some lessons here, people. I'm going to share them. And actually, I just did the audio version using AI on Amazon. That's the book that I did that for. And I really and so I took out all the references back to me in the book. I'm like, I don't want people coming to me. And so I put it out there. I basically, when it comes to that book, I set it and forget it. I
Yeah.
don't do any marketing on it. I look at it, once every 3 years and I collect checks from it. That's all I do.
I wrote a book called Quacking the Surface, a
Uh-huh.
guide to managing your customers' perceptions. So
Oh.
this was like, but what's funny is I've been in business for 18 years. I wrote my book in year 3 when
Mm.
I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, I
And
would say the first book really got me focused on the process.
yeah,
It forced me to figure out ready, aim, launch, and that has served me brilliantly for over 20 years.
yeah. This when I first started, I thought I was going to be a virtual assistant.
Mhm.
So I had no idea I was going to run a marketing agency. Who knew, right?
Mhm.
And so I wrote a book about virtual assistants. I don't like it is no, you cannot get this book. It has been pulled like my I saw my girlfriend had, she goes, oh, I have a copy. I'm like, give me that.
Destroy, destroy. Well, having gone through the frog book again, I'm like, you know what? This all still holds water. Like
Mm.
there was nothing about it that was super, super outdated. So I'm like, okay, we'll keep going.
Well, I mean, but I wasn't selling to virtual assistants, but I wrote a book about virtual assistants. So
Yeah,
that was a big lesson, right? Lauren, if you're going to write a book, maybe you should write about it to the people that you want to help
yeah, yeah.
rather than your colleagues.
Keeping it all under the same umbrella,
Yeah,
that can be incredibly helpful. You know what? And sometimes we just have something in our body that needs to come out. Okay, I get it. I've done
yeah,
it. I understand it, but
absolutely.
it's not recommended.
Jane, thank you so much for sharing your time and your brilliance with us. And I know that our audience is walking away with so many speaker savvy shortcuts and mindset shifts. And to all of you who are tuning in, whether we do have some live people here, those who are watching the recording, if this episode sparked questions or ideas and you're wondering, what does this look like in my business? Either one of us would love to help. You can choose to book a free discovery call with me. I'll put the link in the email. We'll talk about your digital strategy, what's working, what's not, whether a full digital ecosystem audit could help move the needle. And I know that if you were to reach out to Jane, that she would probably be quite happy to give you a hand as well. So don't forget, our next Summer Learning series continues next Thursday at noon EST with Taylor Payne of SpeakerFlow. He's walking us through CRM essentials. Isn't it interesting that you just talked about CRMs and how to build a system that sells and saves you time? Most speakers treat a CRM like a fancy Rolodex, but Taylor's going to show us how to turn it into a real revenue engine. It's not tech 101, it's high level strategy for speakers that are ready to scale. So don't miss out. You'll be able to register for that on my Summer Learning Series page. That's it for now. Jane, you are awesome. Thank you. And I hope everybody has a fantastic summer. Tune in soon. Bye.